Welcome, everyone. And sorry for the slight delay. We were just getting the technical systems set up here. Hopefully, everyone can hear me okay. And thank you all for joining for this special conversation. We still have people filing in, so I'm just going to do a short introduction while we let people arrive. My name's Damon. I'm one of the co-founders of Community Forests International. So I know many people who are joining us today are big supporters of our work and make it all possible. So thank you very much for that. And today we have the opportunity to share in a warm conversation with some of the brilliant colleagues that I get to work with, Sada, Zulpher, and Naushat, who have joined us here in Canada from Zanzibar, and they've come here to work alongside our Canada team and to share some of their experiences and stories leading positive climate action and gender equity action in Zanzibar, East Africa, with everybody here. And as we get started, I just wanted to say a thank you to Global Affairs Canada and Spur Change for making this possible. So I'll share a little bit of a roadmap for today, just for people who would like to know where we're going. So we'll do some introductions, and then we'll go right to Sada, Zulfar, and Naushat to hear some stories from Zanzibar, and then we'll talk about what the future of this work looks like. So for any of our guests, please feel free to add your questions or comments to the chat, and it's going to be a very informal conversation, but we'll make sure that we're monitoring the chat, and we'll just incorporate any of your questions into the conversation as we go. So please feel free to add your questions to the chat. Now, to set a little bit of context, even though I know many people who are joining are already familiar with Community Forests International and Community Forest Pemba, but I'll set a little bit of context before handing it over to Sada, Zulfer, and Naushat. So we founded our two organizations together about 15 years ago, and we created a charity here in Canada and a nonprofit local organization in Zanzibar. And we have done everything closely together since day one, but we have created two separate independent organizations, which was important to us from the beginning, just for autonomy and local ownership and sustainability. So you'll hear reference to the work of both Community Forests International and Community Forests Pemba, which is very interlinked. Even though we're two separate organizations, we are very closely related because we have created everything together. And so shortly, I will let my brilliant colleagues, Zulfer, Sada, and Naushat introduce themselves because they're really the people who you're all here to listen to and learn from today. But I wanted to set the stage for their important work a little bit, just to give a little bit of a context. And so a few years ago at Community Forests International and Community Forests Pemba, we did a strategic reflection. We thought about all of our accomplishments and some of the things that really motivate us in our work, and we asked ourselves, what next? And so we had some really great generative conversations as a team, and we talked about, what was most important about our work and what we hoped to see positive change be as a result of our work. And we had a lot of good conversation about, who we were really working for as well. And in all those conversations, even though we work for the whole community, the importance of really supporting women in Zanzibar in their leadership when it comes to improving the well-being of their own lives and the lives of their families and their communities and their environment consistently came up as something that was very important to us all. So we set about, building on the strengths that we have as an organization, taking our most successful activities in Zanzibar, which include community-based forest conservation, also agroforestry, so combining food production with forest techniques to create systems that make people more money, but also build more climate resilience, and combine all that to do more of it, to expand it, but especially to serve women in that work and to also advance women's equity while taking strong positive action on climate. And so we're fortunate to have really, really great experts on our team to do that. And I'll share some of just the highlights over the last 12 months. Since making, that decision, you'll hear reference to the Zanzibar Women Leadership and Adaptation Initiative. So that's what we combined all of these ideas inside of. And just over the last 12 months, we've seen some really fantastic results. This has been probably the hardest, but also the most effective work that we've ever undertaken. So just so you can see on that slide, some of the numbers, some of the highlights over the last 12 months, almost 1,000 people who are supported as these key change makers in their community, given knowledge, given support, given planting materials to build these systems, these agroforestry systems, which produce more food security, more climate security, also income in a way that increases the well-being of the environment and their communities. So we've supported these key people, mostly women, and now those people are training their neighbors and their fellow farmers to expand this work even further. So that's like a very short introduction, and I would like now to hand it over to my colleagues, Sada, Zulpher, and Naushat. And what I'll do is we'll just start with some broad questions about, who is Community Forests Pemba? And for anyone in the audience who's not maybe familiar with what the environment of Zanzibar is like, what the people of Zanzibar are like, and what it's like to live and work there. Maybe when you each introduce yourselves, you can just share some illustrations of what your work looks like from day to day to start giving people some idea of what the Zanzibar realities are. So I will hand it over perhaps to you first, Zulpher, our social enterprise and gender equity officer, if you'd like to introduce yourself and start sharing a little bit about your work in Zanzibar. Yeah, I'm very happy to be here with you all, and warm welcomes, Zulpher.
Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for this prestigious moment. And I'm very delightful that being part of this webinar. And my name is Zulpher, as I've been introduced by my director. And I'm a social enterprise development officer and also gender justice specialist at Unguja Zone. And I can say that I can't envision myself before until I joined with Community Forests Pemba, and this has been 3 years now. And what makes it very unique being part of the community and the CFP itself is the way I used to work in different profit-making organization to a non-profit organization that the content is for Community Forest Pemba that you work for the people to change the livelihood of the people. So yourself, you have to give yourself all and see that you have to give back to community. And you have to be very humble and learn to their language and live and transform what you're supposed to transform as a specialist to them so that you can change their lives. And as a social enterprise and at the same time as a gender justice specialist, what I have seen that without being humble and without being friendly with the people and speaking their language, it's not easy for you to achieve what the project wish to achieve. But the way we are trained and the way we normally work with the community that we're working in Unguja, it needs me or it needs us at the officers to make sure that we have to learn what's the demand from the community, what the culture itself. So we have to in line with what's the culture itself, and so that we can work with them gently, because they are very fragile. Because they are also because of the culture itself. You need to be when you speak to them, you need to speak with the to see how you can make sure that you can align with their culture make sure that we can deliver to them, and also at the same time we can reach our target as an organization, and also to deliver what the people that have contributed to the project that we have gone through, the time that I have joined Jungo project, and now the ZanzAdapt project, that we really change lives, and that moves me from where I used to work, and the lifestyle that I used to work, to where I am now. Now it's more friendly, and also being part. I attach myself into the community for myself to deliver the message, and also making sure that the implementation really will leave legacy to the community, and also is going to be sustainable to community, either in empowering them financially, on the side of financial inclusion, economic empowerment, and also making sure that the leadership grooming, it's easier for them, and for them to be part of the community and lead those specialties that we wish them to lead at the women's and community itself at large. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Zulpher. That was an excellent introduction, and thank you for sharing your story, shifting from the private sector to a nonprofit at Community Forests Pemba and putting communities first and learning how to listen and work with communities. That's so fundamental to our work. Maybe I'll go to you next, Naushat, because you've been within Community Forests Pemba for a little bit longer than Zulpher, and you've helped build the organization to what it is today. Maybe you could introduce yourself and your role and any highlights that you think the audience would be interested in knowing about our work in Zanzibar.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Naushat. I'm so happy to be in this webinar today. As Damien has said, that I have been working with Community Forests Pemba for 9 years now, and I'm senior finance manager. And everyone maybe that who don't know maybe who is Community Forest Pemba. So I would like everyone of you to know who is Community Forest Pemba. Community Forest Pemba is an NGO who's dealing with climate changes by ensuring reaching its mission that has been innovating ways of living and working that combats poverty and inequality while also increasing resilience. But one among our major work is tree planting. So we are ensuring that we are, we are restoring those trees that has been distracted so that we can calm the nature. But all of our activities are designed to generate, the natural system that people rely on. That is all our work depend on those, natural system that people rely on. But also we have been working with different donors for more than 15 years, because we have been funded by different donors like European Union, WWF, Finnish Embassy, and we are very happy now because we have been funded by Global Affairs to reach our goals that we wanted for many years, like 10 years. We have been thirsty to be financed with Global Affairs, but now we are very happy so that we can reach our goals and we can support our community to overcome those problems of climate change and inequality in our communities. Thank you.
Thank you, Naushat. So now let's go to Sada, our agroforestry and gender equality officer. So Sada, maybe you could share a little bit about the specific impacts of climate change in Zanzibar that you see daily in your work, some of your observations about, maybe the unique fragility of Zanzibar that Zulpher mentioned, and the risks that Naushat highlighted, but also how you are responding to them in your work as an agroforestry officer.
Okay, thank you so much. Hi, everyone. My name is Sada and I am the climate smart expert and gender justice expert. As my mate said earlier, CFP is an NGO that puts its efforts in implementing climate smart solutions and women empowerment. Being in Zanzibar, I would love to explain a bit about the unique qualities of Zanzibar. First of all, Zanzibar is known as the Spice Island due to its unique agroclimate and presence of so many varieties of spices, including the main ones, cloves, cinnamon, nutmeg, black pepper, and so much more. But those four are the main ones. And whenever you come to Zanzibar, any kind of food or tea, chai that will be offered to you, you'll just experience a unique flavor, unique taste, and unique aroma of the Zanzibar spices that are produced organically. The second thing, the Zanzibar archipelago is covered by beautiful beaches with white sand. And the other thing is the beautiful Swahili culture of Zanzibar Island, which is an infusion of the Arabic, English, and the Swahili or a bit of Bantu culture that are infused together. And so, karibu Zanzibar, hakuna matata. Also in Zanzibar, there are unique forests that serve as tourist areas. Like we have Jozani in Unguja, we have Ngezi Forest at Pemba, of which in this forest there are varieties of tree species and even animals, birds, include butterflies, so many varieties of such organisms, which together they bring about the beautiful agroecology that we have in Zanzibar. We also have the Stone Town or the Forodhani area, which is rich in historical heritage of Zanzibar. When you get to Stone Town, you will learn so much about the Arabic heritage, the English heritage, the center of business as it happened back in the days, business, slave trade, and much more things that were happening. But most of all, it's about the economic ground that were set up at Zanzibar back in the days. So after I have mentioned all these unique qualities of Zanzibar, I would like to show how these qualities make it vulnerable to climate change. And I, as an agroforest officer from Community Forests, what we are doing to combat those changes. First of all, if you envision all these unique qualities that I was talking about, you'll find they are based on the environment by 90%. And they contribute not only to the pride and heritage of Zanzibar, but they contribute a big percent to the economy of Zanzibar. And economy starting from the government to an individual, because we see from this the bigger percentage, more than 80% of the citizens rely on agriculture activities, rely on fishing activities, and rely on seaweed farming to sustain their livelihood, to obtain their basic needs, food, shelter, clothes, and as well as their economic needs. So when we come to agriculture, the Zanzibar communities, they are engaged in agroforestry, spice polyculture, horticulture, vegetable production, as well as mangrove cultivation. Although mangrove is not necessarily for an individual, it can be a communal issue, but those are the major kinds of agriculture that happen in Zanzibar. So when it comes to agriculture, there are a lot of deforestation activities happening because these are due to illiteracy, I can say, because people are doing deforestation either to get firewood, or to make charcoal as a source of income, and other uses of trees. But also, when we come to conventional agriculture for short-term crops, people have excessive use of fertilizers and other agrochemical products, believing that the excessive use of these products will bring about increased production and will make them earn more income per unit area without knowing the side effects. So we have seen these effects happening in Zanzibar, and as the agroforestry, or I can say horticulture experts, we have been continuously providing knowledge to the people on how these people can carry out sustainable farming, a farming on which there is minimum use of chemicals, a farming system at which the ecosystem is well nurtured, environmental friendly agriculture, sustainable agriculture, organic agriculture. We have been promoting all these kinds of production systems to enhance good agroecology, to enhance environment conservation, to enhance soil health, but to enhance as well the rainfall pattern while people are earning income, because we have seen the direct effect of climate change that the people are getting from this is the unreliable rainfall. And I can say almost 90% of the farmers still rely on on rainfall for irrigation in their farms. But as Community Forests Pemba, we have been supplying irrigation infrastructures to these farmers to enable them to cope with the climate change and have a year-through production that they can produce during very high drought periods. They can produce, and even during high rainfall periods, they still can produce crops and get food and get income. The other thing we can look into is fishing. In fishing, due to lack of education, or sometimes due to people not willing to change and to use modern fishing methodologies and tools, people have been conducting fishing in shallow water. At the end of the day, what has been happening is the destruction of fish breeding sites, which at the end of the day, some fish varieties or some marine organisms varieties have been disappearing, reducing. So at the end of the day, to those who depend on fishing for their economy, they have low income to sustain their needs, to sustain their families. And also with fishing in shallow water, it makes them to engage in cutting the mangrove. And we know among the trees that have the highest ability to take carbon dioxide and purify the air, they are the mangroves, because they take carbon dioxide, I think, if I remember well, 6 times more than the other plant species. So the mangroves are very important in reducing carbon dioxide and carbon monoxide in the sky, which we know carbon dioxide, those gases, or carbon monoxide, are the ones that directly contribute to global warming and contribute to ozone layer destruction. So CFP, we are not directly engaged in fishing, but what we do is inform the community that there are other upland activities which people can do, such as proper farming, spice polyculture, agroforestry. They can do it in the right way and earn enough income. And even we collaborate with the Ministry of Blue Economy to promote, to act against climate change. So the Ministry of Blue Economy takes role in educating the citizens in the proper ways of fishing, in giving them facilities not to fish on shallow waters, but also setting up some rules, regulations, laws, and bylaws at which these fishermen will be held responsible once they've already been educated and they've been given facilities to fish at the right place, but then they do the other way around. So that way we are reducing the impacts of climate change by cutting down the mangrove. But the other key income activities, as I said, is seaweed farming. In Zanzibar, a lot of coastal communities that are more susceptible to the effects of climate change engage in seaweed farming, both men and women. And with this seaweed farming, there is a tendency of cutting down the mangroves that are used as pegs for drying the seaweed. So in turn, we have seen effects on the rise of sea level. The sea rises to residential areas to the extent that it enters inside the houses. And the effects of this rising of sea level, we have seen that it affects the residential areas. Sometimes people are forced to shift from the areas, or once people are living in those areas, they are not able even to cultivate just vegetables because the saltwater intrusion, it changes everything about the pH for agricultural soil. So the people can no longer be able to carry out beneficial agricultural activities in those areas. And that situation keep them at high risk of falling into malnutrition for kids under 5, for women, and also it's keep them at a risk of being at a higher level of poverty, since most of the people depend on those agriculture activities for their income. With
Thank
saying
you,
those,
Sada. That's excellent. And thank you for highlighting some of the unique, amazing features of Zanzibar. It's such a special part of the world, but as you highlighted, it also has some vulnerabilities. And so I would like to maybe hand it over to Zulpher to hear from you, Zulpher, about how you're taking that work that Sada is doing, helping women and community members to improve the ecological sustainability of their livelihoods, of their agroforestry, to repair their environment and make some income at the same time. How you're taking that and helping to turn it into something that is self-propelling. So maybe you could talk about some of your experiences of the vulnerabilities that exist that you mentioned, especially facing women, but then the day-to-day work that you're doing to help overcome that.
Thank you very much, Dami. Thank you very much. It's true that with the good work that community specialists are doing on the ground, we have achieved a lot because the community that we're working for, especially now for the ZanzAdapt project, is a community that I think I might even say proudly that we are the first one who entered in this community and do some implementation that will change the livelihood of this community. That is to say that it doesn't mean that the government is not supportive. No, thank you. They are supportive, but taking that initiative intensively, making sure these women and this community are really using the green business into their favor, into their family, for changing livelihood of their community and themselves. One thing maybe I can just say that through the training and capacity building that we are doing, on making sure that we train these women to know exactly how best they can add value on this commodity, on this product from the agroforest, on adding value on the products from sea products, so that at the end of the day they are not selling raw product they are not selling raw material. They're just selling raw ready-made product, so that they can earn they can earn a better income out of it, rather than just selling raw material and earn little out of it. Most especially when it comes to what we are doing on the, I know that we have specialists in our organization, that we distribute a lot of banana suckers, trees, and other likes, so that they can protect the environment, but at the same time, they can beneficial, they can earn fruit out of it. But we cannot all sell fruit in the farms, but we have a chance and opportunity, using my expertise and the partner that we are working with, to make sure that our beneficiaries, they add value on their products. We are now have products that are made from the mango product. We have mango pickles. We have sauces. We have chili sauces. We have crisps made on banana. And also, apart from that, we even went further, making sure that these women, they have their own network, so that it's easy for them to know where they can sell their products, and also where they can engage with other business networks, so that they can sell their product. They can be source of the supplying to these people. They can supply their product to these people, and they can sell it both wholesale and retail. And that was not easy for us to do, because you can see, as I said earlier, that the community they have knowledge, but not today's world of business. So after taking them through different classes on product value addition, label designing, best packaging, making sure that we lead them into registrations. They have also barcodes in their product, so that they can secure their products and not be stolen to somebody else and say that this is my product. And also we manage making sure that we have groups, different groups, that with these groups, it's easy for them to engage and to make products. When they get big order, it's easy for them to organize themselves and deliver and the product to their buyer. Also, with the social enterprise network, business network that we made sure that we formulated, and there is going to be launched soon, mid of December, before we go for our holidays. We are going to launch that umbrella of these 40 groups inside there, so that it's easy for them, for this umbrella, to go for exhibition, it's easy to be invited for exhibition being under this umbrella. And also these women to have, we manage also to direct, to connect themselves, to have financial clubs, or we took them through on the financial inclusions knowledge, that now they can have their village social funds, so that they can deposit their savings and credit themselves easier. Because I know with the situation of microfinance and also financial institution, it's not easy directly for them to get loans. And so we are not giving loans, but we are giving them the best knowledge, where they can corroborate themselves and make sure that they have knowledge into finance, and also they have knowledge on how to sell, what to sell, how to budget, how to price tag their product, and how they can use the profits they have. They have to pay their own salary, because we have that issue that most entrepreneurs, they don't pay themselves their salary, but they use the profit gained, that's their salary. That we also manage differentiating that. And the good thing of it, they now have their own village, they have their own small clubs that they serve their money, and also they loan each other the same money, and expand their businesses. And to us, that's very good. That's a very big step. But doing all of this, what we did is making sure that their husbands are very supportive to what we are doing, and they are supportive to their wife and making sure that they are champion on leading the way, that their wife need to engage into these small businesses. They can participate. They can even go to the exhibition and leave behind all their responsibility to their husband, and the husband could take care of the business at home, could take care of the kids, could take care of the farms, and also at the same time the engagement between the friendliness that was not there, the intimacy of friendship of the husband and wife and the family at large, interpersonal relationship was not there. Now with our project and the way we are grooming them, that we brought the family together, and now these family work collaboratively. And you can even see that at first that we enter into these communities, men were very curious that we are introducing the gender. Maybe you are going to train their wife not to be obedient to them. But funny enough, and we are blessed that they understood exactly what we are doing, and they are now very supportive. So you can see that we know that if we want to achieve to break the barrier of poverty in a family, it's always husband and wife. They have to work collaboratively. They can't work reversely. They need to work together so that it's easy for them to listen to each other and decide for each other, and also making sure that they budget together so that what goes to the family, what goes to the investment, and what to be saved, and what to be invested for the house and other budget for family. So it was not easy, but I like the way the modality of ZanzAdapt project that we distribute 80% to women, 20 to men. This, I think, this is they just took that's natural way of life that we believe that always men had that 80%. It's just to have that 20% to support women because they were like because of the cultural constraint and norms. Women they were like they know that the opportunity are there, and even their policies are very clear. They can access property, they can buy, they can start, they can go beyond in primary education. But it's just because they are being told that you're not supposed to be submissive, you're not supposed to show off all your aggressiveness and do more. As a leader, you cannot act as a leader in front of men. But after using this 20, that men have to encourage their wives and see the potentiality of the labor that were not used before, that now being put in action, how is going to serve and reduce the poverty rate in their family and community at large. And this helped us a lot after engaging this because the way that our project work is everything 80% start with women. Women has to be given 80% first and men 20%. It means that with this privilege that women being given and the way they are grabbing the opportunity and the way they are using it effectively and sharing it with the community and their household, and the men the way they are championing it by themselves, it suits them to see that we have helped these communities phased themselves from where they are to where we want them to go, and also making sure that we don't harm any part of it because we are doing our best in making sure that we engage them in each step of the way that we are doing, whether it's in agriculture, in mangrove restoration, in gender empowerment, and also into the sector of enterprise and economic empowerment, income generation, and also on the step men to see the point of view that women they are nurtured by nature. So and also the women has to be trusted more when given position of leadership. When it comes to the community committees, women voice has to be heard because the men can make a decision and plan and budget and plan some development projects which will be not helpful to women. But once the women are being engaged and lined into this committee and being given the opportunity of being leaders, they can decide and have their portion and be allocated collectively, and so that they can be helpful to them and their kids and their children, and also change their livelihood at large. summing up to that also, I believe that once the women are being empowered and the income generation are in hands also for women, we can see even the gender inequalities won't be there. Inequality won't be there because you can see that these people now are engaging. Men are no longer lonely. Men now are talking to their wives. Now they are engaging with the community. There's no that gap that men are men, women are women. No, these people now are teaming up together and they work, making sure that all the illicit behavior going around the community are being cleared because now the women are in front seat with the men together, making sure they reduce the poverty level and also making sure the climate protection are being taken care to. So even the way the men engage their businesses is being turned off. Instead of them going cutting charcoals and burning trees and everything, they now tend to helping these women business and also the way that these women are being focused. Also themselves, they turn into the other side and see that it's only not only cutting down trees and having firewood, selling firewood or selling charcoal is the only business we can do, but we can also engage into other business and protect our environment. And also having those trees that are being planted not only for fruit, but also we can cut tree, but also we're supposed to plant trees. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Zulpher. And to all of you, I know your work is so big and important, and it's impossible to summarize everything in such a short amount of time. So we only have about 5 minutes left. But maybe just I'll hand it back to you, Naushat, if you'd like to just share some further stories about your career personally and maybe what you hope for the future of this work in Zanzibar and for Community Forests Pemba, because you have been a leader within Community Forests Pemba for so many years. So you have been a part of building the organization into what it is today alongside your own career. So maybe just with the last 5 minutes that we have, we can talk about that journey and also what some of our hopes are for the future. So over to you, Naushat.
Okay. Thank you for giving me this chance, at least to share with other audience maybe my journey from where I was before and where I am today. Maybe for those who are still joining and maybe who would like to join, my name is Naushat. I'm a holder of first degree in business administration, major in accounting and finance, but currently I hold the position of senior finance manager and a member of leadership team at Community Forests Pemba, which collaborate with Community Forest International in doing their works. But I can say that before holding those positions, I was working with Community Forests Pemba as a volunteer in a Department of Finance, but it was a very luckiest thing for me to join with Community Forests Pemba and volunteered myself to work with them because, as my other colleagues have been explaining, that this organization has been working in those gender empowerment issue and gender equality issues. So I joined in Community Forests Pemba from the grassroots, and I was just a volunteer working with those finance issues, small tax. But I was very lucky and got those opportunity to work with very talented individuals who saw my potential and helped me that to wake up those my potential in leadership. And they give me the chance to express and to see my ability, which is within my side. So they give me the opportunity to participate in different leadership activity involving in those decision making. It reached the time whereby I was feeling like that I'm so young. How can I be in those leadership team, or how can I do those leadership working? But because this organization has been working all of the time to empower women, so they helped me to wake up what I have inside in 2021, I was made a senior finance manager of the CFP, and that was a massive accomplishment and made all my, working and all my commitment was like. But I can say beyond maybe my academic and career development, but also working with CFP have given me the chance to explore new culture, broaden my horizons by interacting with different communities, and also open my eyes and way of thinking. You can see we are working in Pemba, but now I'm in Canada. So this have been giving me the opportunity to interact with different people and broaden my way of thinking. But not only that, I have been going in different areas, in different communities, which makes me feel like even women can be a leader if maybe we know maybe what we want and where we want to be. So general, what I could say maybe, I have been very lucky. So my journey to where I am now, it was not so that difficult because I met with those people that who know that maybe these women have this ability to do something. So they give me all the support, not only my organization, but even my family. They give me all of the support that Naushat you can do maybe, and you can go where you want to go. So it was the journey of understanding yourself, maybe where you want to be, and believe in your own ability. So that was my brief story from where I was before, because I was fresh from the university. And according to the culture of Zanzibar community, when a woman graduated from the university, most of the time what the parents they expecting is that women to get married. So for me, it was very different because my family was very understanding and I was knowing myself what I want to do and where I want to be. So I encourage my family that before getting married, I want to do this and I want to be a leader in somewhere. Maybe I couldn't know maybe where I could be a leader, but in my heart, I knew that I want to be a leader, even if in my family, but someday I want to be a leader. So my family encouraged me that, okay, we will support you. So you can go where you want to go. So I can say that I was very lucky. Yes, and my journey was not so hard. But even now, there are some also girls who are inside Zanzibar who graduated from the university and they don't have that chance to show themselves and to know their ability which is inside them. So what we are doing in our organization, we are just trying to convince and impress those women that who are finishing school and those graduated that they can do and they have the ability to do something. Yes. And because we are working with different issues, and especially I want to base on this maybe the issue of gender, because that is where maybe have impressed me. But also there are some I think issues that I can see my organization maybe in future can success to do, because we are dealing with those issue of gender and issue of overcoming those climatic issues. So I can see maybe after 1 year CFP will success maybe to reach the point where at least a women and youth, they can understand maybe their position in the community. Because now we have been engaging those women and youth in different activities, especially when empowering them. So I'm thinking maybe after 1 year or 2 years, we will get, a number of women and youth who could understand themselves where they want to be and what may be their contribution in the community. Not only that, but also I think what I think, because before we were working in only Zanzibar as a community forest Pemba, but now we have been also we are working in Unguja. When I say Zanzibar, I mean Pemba and Unguja. But I'm sure maybe after years, Community Forest Pemba will also grow its wings to Tanzania, because also in Tanzania there is a need of having Community Forest Pemba and Community Forest International, because they are facing the similar problems that we are facing in Zanzibar. So at least by doing that, maybe we can at least hit some percentage of reducing those, problems of climate change, gender inequality, and we can contribute much in our economic, especially in Zanzibar. As my colleagues there have been discussing that our economic in Zanzibar depend on all of the, nature, because we are, our economic depend on agriculture, depend on fishing, and other natural resources that is available in our community. So that is where maybe I can see our organization in future can hit those, targets that we have been mentioned there. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Naushat. Well said. Thank you, Zulpher. Thank you, Sada. It's an honor to work with you and to work with the whole Community Forests Pemba team. We are running out of time and we actually have to rush to another meeting because it's a busy day for us. But thank you everyone so much for taking some time out of your day to join with us in this warm conversation. I hope you have some picture of the realities of working in Zanzibar and the brilliant people on our team who we get to work with and all the work that you are making possible by supporting us. So Naushat mentioned how important it is to look for ideas and experiences outside of your home region. And I think that's something that's important for Canadians to do, to look outside of our country, to look outside of North America and to see the positive things that are happening on climate, on gender equity, and to add our solidarity to those efforts. And you all are making that possible. And I want to thank Spur Change and Global Affairs Canada again for making it possible for Sada, Zulpher, and Naushat to travel here and be with us and share all the brilliance with everyone. So we're going to close this meeting, but you know where to find us. If there are any questions that we didn't get to, please just email them and we'll do our best to follow up. Thank you so much, everyone. I hope the rest of your day is excellent. Take care.